ever wonder why some companies just explode and become household names, while others, with what seem like brilliant ideas, just vanish? Well, it almost always boils down to one simple but incredibly powerful concept. So today, let's crack the code of what really makes a business tick. This is the question, right? The one that keeps every entrepreneur up at night. Is it lack of funding, poor marketing, a bad team? According to our source material, the biggest reason, it's actually way more fundamental than any of that. And there you have it. So simple, so direct, and so powerful. A business can have the coolest, most innovative product in the entire world, but hey, if nobody actually needs it, there's no one to sell it to. See, at the end of the day, success isn't about what you can build, it's all about what problem you can solve. Okay, so if everything really hinges on this idea of a need, we've got to ask, what in the world is it? It's not some, magical, mysterious force. No, it's actually something we can see and define. It's a gap. Just think about it in your own life. You expect a package to show up in 2 days, but it takes a week. That's a gap. You expect to find a healthy, quick lunch option near your office, but all you see is fast food. That's another gap. The most successful businesses, they live right inside these gaps. They build a bridge between what people want and what they can actually get. But here's where it gets really fascinating. A market need is kind of like an iceberg. The functional problem, the obvious thing, that's just the tip you can see above the water. The real power, the massive part below the surface that truly drives our decisions, well, that's all emotional and social. Let's break this down. A functional need is super direct. Hey, I need my phone battery to last all day. Simple. But an emotional need is all about how a product makes you feel. That sense of status you get from a luxury brand. And then a social need connects to your values, your identity, like choosing an eco-friendly product because that's who you are. The truly great companies, they are masters at weaving all three together. That's how you create that fierce, unshakable brand loyalty. So if these needs are out there, just waiting to be found, how do companies actually find them? Well, they don't just guess. They basically put on their detective hats and start searching for clues. It's a real investigation to figure out what you, the customer, really want, even if you haven't said it out loud yet. And this is their toolkit. They use market research, things like surveys and interviews, to just ask you directly. They dig through customer feedback, because let me tell you, your reviews and complaints are absolute gold mines of information. They analyze data to see what you're actually buying and clicking on. And, this is a big one, they look at their competitors to find the gaps, the needs that everyone else is just ignoring. But here's a super important piece of the strategy. The goal isn't to find a need that everyone on the planet has. I mean, that's impossible. The smartest companies know they have to narrow their focus. They pick a specific group of people, their target market, and they just dedicate themselves to solving their problems better than anyone else out there. All right, so the detective work is done, the need is identified. Now what? Well, now the engineer has to step in. It's time to actually build that value bridge, to turn a customer's problem into a real, tangible solution. And this isn't random. There's a clear, methodical process. First, you pinpoint the real problem. Then, you design a solution specifically to solve it. But you don't build the whole thing right away. You test a prototype to see if you're on the right track. After you launch, you watch what happens really carefully. And maybe most importantly, you never stop listening to feedback and making it better. This is one of my favorite insights from the source material. It is so tempting for companies to just add more bells and whistles, more features, more complexity. But what do customers almost always want? Something that's simple, does its job reliably, and is genuinely useful. The focus has to stay on the customer's need, not the company's cool but useless ideas. Now you might be thinking, okay, great, find a need, build a solution, job done, right? Well, not exactly. The truth is, you've just entered a race that never, ever ends. Because the second you solve one problem, the world changes and a whole new set of them pops up. I mean, this says it all, doesn't it? Remember video stores? The problem wasn't just, I want to see a movie. It was the hassle of driving there, finding out it was out of stock, and oh my gosh, those dreaded late fees. Netflix didn't just see a market for movies. They saw a market for convenience. They solved that frustration, first with DVDs by mail, and then, crucially, by seeing the massive shift to streaming before almost anyone else. And it's the exact same story with Uber. The old problem was standing on a corner, trying to hail a cab, having no idea when one would show up or what it was going to cost you. Uber saw that need for reliability, for transparency, and for just pure ease of use, and they used technology to build a bridge straight to that solution. So the lesson here is crystal clear. Market needs are not static. They are constantly changing with new technology, with culture, with new trends. A successful business can't just solve yesterday's problem. It has to be obsessed with what's coming next. Because, as we've seen over and over again, failing to adapt, well, that's a direct path to becoming irrelevant.
So after all of this, what's the one thing to really walk away with? It's this. If you strip away all the jargon, all the complicated business plans, all the marketing, what you have left is a simple truth. Your success, whether you're a startup founder or part of a giant company, is directly tied to how well you find and solve a real, meaningful problem for your customers.
And that really is the billion-dollar question, isn't it? And it's not just for CEOs, it's for anyone with an idea. Just look around you, at your job, in your day-to-day life. What are the little frustrations, the inconveniences? Where are the gaps between what people expect and what they actually get? Because inside one of those gaps is the next great idea. The only question is, will you be the one to solve